we are going to look at things changing with testing Star Citizen. For years, maybe a decade, longer. I don't actually know how long. We've had 3 distinct forms of testing Star Citizen. We've had Evocati, which is also known as PTU Wave 1. We have the PTU, which is, well, that PTU is basically split into, I think, 3 or 4 waves, which is just gated testing, but there's no NDA, there's no hiding what might be going on or anything like that. And then we have live, which is what you use and you jump into whenever you want to play the game. It looks like there's an update coming to this. I have not read this yet, so I'm getting this news the same time as you. But it does look like they are focusing on a group gameplay testing team, which I think this, like, we need to start getting to doing this in the ePTU at all times alongside the rest of the game. I keep calling it the satisfactory model. A lot of games do this. You have an experimental branch next to a normal branch where you can keep testing stuff while other stuff is going on. This fits with their whole ePTU push. This works actually quite well alongside the letter from the chairman announcement they made at the beginning of the year, which was basically just that they wanted to start having features go into the ePTU at one phase and then sit alongside the rest of the game while everyone else is playing live so that they can eventually put it into the live game. And I think that works. So let's see what it is that they're doing with this gameplay testing team. Greetings, citizens. We're excited to announce the launch of our new program for select group gameplay testing. These tests are designed to gather rapid, focused feedback on critical game systems through highly focused short burst sessions. The select group gameplay testing will operate on an invitation-only basis, bringing together small, carefully selected groups of players based on player activity for targeted testing under NDA. I do like that. They need to be selecting the people that are doing the things they're testing, right? It's actually something they track too. Whenever the PTU goes through a difficult cycle of testing, you can find announcements that they've made. Here we go. Where CIG will literally come in and they'll say, okay, here are the people who did the most of any given thing. These people died the most to security turrets. These people did the most reloading and repairing on ships. These people spent the most time running missions. These people did the most salvaging or the most mining or the most combat. Like they actually track this stuff and then reward people on it. So I think they definitely need to make sure, like if you're bringing in base building, include the people who are doing the industrial stuff. Include the highest playing people. That's a good one. Unlike our standard PTU waves, these tests will focus on specific systems or mechanics that require immediate concentrated feedback during active development. They didn't explicitly say it here, but I'm hoping this is also unlike our PTU waves, this is not going to be based around subscribers or concierge or anything like that. It definitely should just be focused on gameplay, please. Tests will launch at irregular intervals based on development needs with short notice periods. Test durations will vary depending on the scope and requirements of each system being evaluated. All participants must sign and acknowledge NDA terms before gaining build access. So are they just going to get rid of EVA? EVO? Evo? Evocati? Is it gone? All feedback for these tests will be submitted directly to us via email only. Email will be provided as part of the test invitations. Okay, so they're breaking it out of Spectrum. For these tests, we will not allow forum post-Spectrum discussions, issue council reports, or external discussions about the test content. They don't want the leaks. They want that one-to-one communication. Oh, participants will receive a comprehensive survey following each test session to capture their experience and observations. Selected citizens will receive invitations via email as an NDA agreement to sign. Keep an eye on your communications. This is interesting. Not a ton of detail, but this does sound like, I mean, they didn't exclusively say this is getting rid of Evocati, right? To me, this feels like the beginning of the end for Evocati, if not, but they don't explicitly say it. But this could do a lot more to move into that format of we've got the PTU, which is basically staging for live, and then we've got, I'm going to call it the ePTU still, just for simplification, but really they've got their group gameplay testing branch. I would assume that is the EPTU, which could very well mean that they eliminate Evocati, they test the important things that might have been included in Evocati into EPTU, and then the first wave of PTU is where we really test that stuff in the game environment. And then it goes to live eventually. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this fits into the messaging they've been using. Is this in addition, or is this tweaking what you guys were already planning? It sounds a bit like a tweak. It's confusing, but I do think that what they're trying to do here is simplify the process. So I would keep an eye on how they treat Evocati from here on. Please don't use streamers for this. Use regular players who just want CIG to succeed. Take a lesson from how streamers screwed up Call of Duty Warzone for the rest of us. Streamers, the ultimate boogeyman. If the thing is under NDA, they shouldn't be able to stream it, so why would this be an issue? What happened to Warzone? They respond with, in my opinion, the problem isn't just the streaming aspect of it, but the fact that a person who plays this game 5 hours a day and makes a living from it has completely different standards, expectations, and interests from the average player who just wants to have fun. I don't know, man. I think people need to chill with the labeling. I know this probably isn't seen so much as like a weird take, but I find this kind of stuff so weird. In basically saying, if you stream, then you play 5 hours a day, you have completely different standards, and you don't just want to have fun. There are so many people who stream this game, dude, I know people who stream this game to just their friends privately. It's not, being a streamer is not a immediate disqualification for like caring about the game. I think if anything, they shouldn't even factor whether somebody streams, makes videos, makes blog posts, runs an org. None of that stuff should be part of what decides this. What should decide this is whether somebody is playing. I wouldn't expect them to take in the average player who just wants to have fun for this kind of testing, because that's also not going to help. You have to take in the hardcore player who does a lot of the stuff that they're trying to test. And then when you get that person's feedback, you factor it into the rest of the game, which is taking into account how casual people play the game. But like, if you want to understand the ins and outs of cargo hauling and how snapping boxes to a cargo grid should be most efficient in the game, you're not just going to pick somebody who casually plays the game. You got to pick someone who's doing a lot of cargo hauling. If you're going to pick someone to help with the medical gameplay, pick someone who does a lot of medical gameplay. Don't just pick some casual player. What I'm saying is hardcore players know the ins and outs of the gameplay, right? If you bring in a closed group of casual players, those casual players will not know the glitches that you get from doing something for 3 hours straight. Maybe they will. Casual is a different definition for everyone, but they're not going to understand that after an hour of running back and forth between two locations, the locations become desynced. A casual player is not going to do that. And in order to find that bug, you have to get the people who are obsessed with running that stuff. That's what the whole point of Evocati was. That's why, initially at least, they were bringing people into Evocati who were doing the most issue council reports, who were playing the game the most. And you have to get that before you move on to making sure that it's all balanced and working with the rest of the game. Maybe not before, but alongside. And I don't think you're going to get that if you're just trying to get average players who just want to have fun. Not saying don't take average players' opinions into account. I'm just saying this is not meant for the average player to give feedback. We still have that process, I would think. From the PTU, from the live, from Spectrum, from all that kind of stuff. There's just no sign here of what the NDA would be time-wise. This might be something that like, they give us the gameplay, we try it for a couple months, and then it's gone. It doesn't even make it to PTU. It could be just tech previews, honestly. Just NDA tech previews. Instead of kicking people out of Evo, they're making a new group. It does feel like they're making just another group. I would have expected an announcement about Evo alongside this. Certified Gumbo said, I'm Evo, they still value our feedback. When they need to focus test, they will ask us to test very specific things. They still talk to us directly outside of patch notes. Okay. this new group QA and target bug hunting. Evocati is focused stability and bug hunting in larger scale, and the rest of us is bug hunting and general player feedback. And still saying whether it's fun or not. That is important. Don't get me wrong. Either way, this is a change to the Evocati system, and there's plenty of discussion going on with it. Isn't it just what Evo was before y'all invited the streamers who don't read patch notes and do this like group gameplay testing? Not surprising at all, actual testers. Yeah, actual testers is good. A lot of worry about streamers though. That's whatever. I don't have much to say about that now. I am a streamer, so it probably comes off pretty disingenuous, whatever I am saying. Anyways, people will have their thoughts one way or another. But I think whatever this is, we'll see how it affects Evo, and hopefully it can lead to some better focus testing on specific mechanics and like faster iteration. And hopefully it is based on specific activity in game, of what people are doing and whether or not that can actually help with the feedback they're looking for. Either way, little quick checkup there.